We don't get any kind of fancy opens or, just these big video packages or anything else, Vince. It's just you and me, just us two guys. And by the way, we're minus one of our team here tonight, who's down and out, got around one of his grandbabies, and they gave him one of the colds that they had. So Dutch will not be here tonight, but he'll be back again next week. But Vince, that means that going back old style, old school for you and I here.
Listen, Mac, Mad Mac, I'm in a very solemn mood tonight.
Oh, no.
And I would like to dedicate our show tonight to the Whoop Whoops, who, much to my chagrin, were released from the WWE today. The great Whoop Whoops.
Whoop
So
Whoops.
I am dedicating my performance tonight to the Whoop Whoops.
And of course, Vince, for those of you who are coming into the room and wondering what's going on, the latest releases by WWE included the Whoop Whoops, Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, and Caden Carter and Katana Chance are the last names I saw as of us going live right now. I don't know if there's anybody else coming or not. Braun Strowman, though, Vince, that was kind of a little bit of a surprise for me. Did you find that unusual to see him get?
I find it unusual because it's the second time, even though I think this was Dakota Kai's second time as well, which really tells you how messed up they are. If you're letting somebody go and then bringing them back and then letting them go a second time, bro, like that kind of reeks of you don't know what the hell you're doing. But, it's so funny, Mac, because I did a show today on YouTube by myself. I do a show every Friday called Thursday Thrashing Friday. And I talked about the WWE go through women wrestlers like breath mints.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And that's what I talked about. And I even said on that show, I said Dakota Kai was going to get released this morning. And I had no inside information. But obviously, Mac, with her, the writing was on the wall because you saw what they were doing with Io Sky, and they kind of left her in no man's land. So, you saw the writing on the wall. But, Mac, I don't know what it is with the way WWE just goes through women's talent without getting anybody over. Listen, bro, let's be honest, Mac. Charlotte Flair. She would not be over if she was not Charlotte Flair. Becky is over because she got punched in the face and cut a promo with a bloody nose. That's why Becky is over.
Well, let me say, while you're talking, I don't mean to cut you off, but I do want to
cut me off, Mac. I was on the road. You're jumping right in there, Mac. Ahead,
when
Mac.
you mentioned Becky Lynch, and I want to say something about Becky Lynch, and I don't have anything against Becky Lynch. There's a part of me that likes Becky Lynch, but when I see her come to the ring as the man, and she's just walking down, like this, I don't believe a second of it. They need to change her character to fit her better because she is not the man.
Yeah, Mac, like I said, if she never got shot
by Nia Jax,
shooting punch, she would have never been over. That's what got her over. She would have been just like everybody else. I mean, my God, bro, it's funny. Like Bayley just did this interview and she was like on the verge of tears. And she's like, I've been here for 12 years. I don't do the talk shows. I don't do this. You know why? Because Triple H doesn't look at her like a star. That's why. That's why they don't ask you to do talk shows. That's why they don't ask you to do these things. And I again, Mac, it goes back to what you and I talk about every single week. They're not creating stars. No, everybody is a wrestler, especially in the women's division.
Yeah, in fact, I was going to mention it seems to me that we may be going backwards in the women's division or how we look at women in the women's division in WWE, because it does feel like we get a lot of the pretty girls, and they're all pretty, but some of these girls are packaged to look like just these cute little things that all these guys are going to fall over. but they don't really back it up with the talent in the ring. It's just about the looks. And if we're going back to just the looks, the women's division in WWE is going to be the shits.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know how you avoid that. If you're just going to go by the looks and people and fans attracting to them, there need to be women in there who are believable ass kicking women. And I don't know of that many.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mac. And bro, it is what it is. You know, we're looking at a show tonight, and we kept saying, man, what is this going to look like after WrestleMania? And we're seeing what it looks like. But Mac, here's the thing, man. And again, I say this out of experience of being a writer for so many years. Bro, it's confusing to begin with, and they just add to making it more confusing. And I just want to point out to you exactly what I'm talking about, Mac. And it's where the show begins and where the show ends. You've got LA Knight and Damian Priest. They're both baby faces. At the top of the show, they're arguing with each other. Yep. Then you end the show, and you got Tiffany and Jade Cargill, both baby faces, and Jade takes about... Mac, if you're going to do baby faces have heat with each other, it's going to be one angle, Mac. It's going to be one angle. They do this all over the show. Damian Priest and LA Knight. Then the show ends, Jade Cargill and Tiffany. It's not confusing enough where we're sitting. We don't know who we're supposed to like, who we're not supposed to like. Breaker joins the Heyman Alliance, and they're cheering Braun Breaker. Like, can you? I mean, Mac, can you literally, Mac? Think of it this way: if you're watching a regular movie, and you got your main character, and literally 6 times during the movie, the character's a bad guy, then he's kissing a baby, then he's killing somebody, then he's taking his daughter to the park, then he's beheading somebody. Think about if that happened during the course of a movie. Do you know how confusing that would be?
It would be extremely confusing. And I made a note. I knew that you would say something, because I made a note that says weird start. We went with what appeared to be a setup for a match later in the night, which is supposed to have been the main event, which I would have bought. That's why we have them opening the show. But instead, we got that match right away. So everything we started the show with ended when that match ended. That was weird placement. And there never was, for me, unless I missed it, any kind of a thread that went through the show that carried you to the main event.
No, not at all. Not at all. They do that once in a blue mood, and that should be the format of the show every week. So when I say Triple H doesn't know how to format a wrestling show, that's exactly what I'm talking about. But Mac, I'd much rather talk about tonight, if you may.
Yeah.
You're very well groomed tonight, Matt. You're always a very well-groomed man. Look at you, Matt. Look at you.
I try, but yeah, this is I don't know what it is. It's not my wife. I heard you tell somebody the other day, oh, his wife dresses him all the time.
Mac, let me ask you a question. How old were you when you got married?
Depends which time we're talking about.
How many times you been married?
I've been married twice. My first marriage was well, it was what it was. My second marriage, though, I have been married now for 25 years to the same woman, the beautiful, great lady.
Yeah. So how old were you for that first marriage?
First marriage, I was 28, I believe.
Wow. Yeah, so you had to be a real ladies' man before you got married, Matt.
Well, here's the thing. The reason why I didn't get married until my late 20s, and I was not even planning on getting married then, really, and probably should have listened to myself at the time and done what I thought. But, I was in radio, so I was doing a morning show. I was hosting events and nights at nightclubs.
You were getting it, bro.
Yeah, man. I didn't want to, had no rush to get married. So. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because you live that rock and roll life, man.
I knew it, Mac. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. All right, Mac. We got to talk about this show, or else we'll both get fired, Mac.
Let me ask you something, because this is something else I want to bring up. During tonight's SmackDown, and by the way, if you want to be a part of the program tonight, all you have to do is get a super chat. If you bring it up to us, we'll throw it up on the screen and answer your questions during the night. But that's how you become a part of the show. Just get a super chat and we'll throw you up there. Let me ask you, though, aside from Randy Orton being on the show tonight, name me one more star that appeared on the show.
Chelsea Green.
Name me one more.
I can't.
You can't.
Chelsea, no. Man, Chelsea, she steals the show on the outside of the ring.
Yes.
Period. End the story, bro.
Mourning the loss.
Yeah, she's on the outside of the ring, and I can't take my eyes off of what she's doing on the outside of the ring.
You know how I feel about that. Yeah. Let's see. Anonymous 499. Triple H and Lee Fitting need to stop putting their names as executive producers at the end of these terrible shows. Yeah. This is embarrassing. Shaking my head.
I gotta say something to Anonymous about that, bro. Anonymous, do you know how many people working for that company that pisses off? Because do you know how many people are involved in putting this show together, bro? Cameramen, audio men, director, producer, writers. There are so many people involved in putting this show together, and 2 people get mentioned. That is an insult, bro, to everybody. Back in the day, Mac, and I know you remember this, WCW, they ran the credits, bro.
Yes.
They ran the credits, and I guarantee you, when they ran the credits, there were probably close to 100 names, WCW. Oh, yeah. But the fact that 2 guys, I'd like to see 2 guys do everything on a 3-hour show. I'd love to see that, bro. Anonymous, that is such a slap in the face of everybody else. It's absolute bullshit. If that were me, there is no way in the world I would let them put up my name and nobody else's. No way, Mac.
No, and I do remember the WCW days when they added those scrolls at the end of the show. I mean, that's where you saw how many Crockett members of the, family members were doing different jobs, the cameras or whatever else. But they mentioned everybody, like you said, that was involved in that production. And if you're going to do it, you need to do it the right way.
That's right.
But why did they do that? Why did they, why did they change and add that?
He's a freaking egomaniac, bro. I swear to here's why it really took me a while to understand that, because the Triple H I worked with in the mid to late 90s was not an egomaniac. He was not. I knew the guy personally. Bro, the Triple H I'm seeing today, it's like, brother, get over yourself. I was seeing a video clip the other day, Mac, of he's doing his entrance with Pat McAfee and they're both spit in the water. And I'm like, brother, get over your, like, literally, Triple H, do you do that in the shower? Before you get in the shower, do you stand outside of it and spit water all over the bed? Get freaking over yours. Mac, if that were me doing all that stuff, they would be crucifying me, Mac, killing me.
Now, speaking of crucifying you, hey, guys, don't forget, we'll get to your questions in just a minute. We got 330 of you in the room right now. I want to get that thing over 500 in the next couple of minutes here if we can. So share this link to everybody. Let them know that we're live. What was I going to ask you, Vince? Hell,
you were about to crucify me, Mac. You said something about crucifying me.
Now I can't even remember. God, that's horrible. It is. It's age. It is a few chair shots too many to the head. Let's talk about Byron Saxton. He was backstage tonight with Fraxum, who gets interrupted by Pretty Deadly, setting up a match of Pretty Deadly versus Fraxium. What did you think about that setup? Did you even care?
No, of course not. Can we all agree that this is a horrible name for a team? Can we agree, Mac? Like, Faxium? What do you guys do? You deliver faxes? Like, what a horrible name. Bro, who gives a shit about either one of these teams. And bro, you're going to see this repeated over and over and over throughout the entire show.
Yeah, which is why we're asking for your questions too, because it's a lot easier to talk about your questions than it is to talk about this damn show tonight. It really was bad. Junior star, $5. Young talent cuts again in the last 4 cuts seasons. NXT have been a failure at creating new stars.
Mac, because you know what, like I want our audience to understand this, Mac, because you got to, at the end of the day, guys, this is a business. And you guys got to understand something. Mac knows this. From the day somebody is put into NXT and they go through the NXT system and then they go up to the WWE, guys, do you know how many millions of dollars they invest in the talent? Do you know how much money it is to start with somebody green at NXT and then see them through the system? So what my point is every time they cut a Dakota Kai, every time they cut a Whoop Whoops, every time they cut a Shayna Baszler, bro, you're flushing money down the toilet.
Yes.
You invested millions and millions of dollars, the television time in these people, and then you're cutting them loose. Guys, that is a failure. That is the equivalent of a Major League Baseball team signing somebody out of college. They go through single A, double A, triple A. All this time and money is invested, and then they give them their release. It's such a loss. It is such an unbelievable amount of money that they wind up losing. And here's the problem, though, Mac. We talk about this all the time. Who's held responsible for that? How many misses until somebody is held responsible?
Yeah, I feel bad for the talent, and I know you understand what I'm talking about when I say this, but as a talent, your career in the WWE, for the most part, is in the hands of creative. And unless you can come up with something that maybe creative will bite on, or if they come up with something, that's it. I mean, they can just not, if they don't like you, I could imagine, because this is in every business, if there's somebody there who doesn't like you, they're sure not going to work that hard to get you over.
That's right. And Mac, here's the worst part of it, guys. Here is the worst part of it. I'm going to take Dakota Kai for an example. I'm guessing Dakota Kai is about 28 years old. Matt, can you look her up real quick? Is there any way you could look her up?
Yeah, while you talk, I'll look up.
I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to say Dakota Kai is 28 years old. Because, guys, this is the most damaging thing. And this is the part that I really take into account.
I'm showing 28. Yep.
Wow, how about that, Mac? I was right on the money.
Hey, how about I'm still questioning if that's right.
Okay, guys, here's what I'm talking about. Here's this is the part that concerns me the most. You have a young wrestler, a Dakota Kai, who's put into the system. Okay, Mac? She goes to the system. She finally makes it to the main stage. Honestly, guys, your shelf life, the average shelf life of a wrestler like Dakota Kai is probably 3 years. Then this is the dream, Mac. This is the dream. From the time you're 5 years old, you dreamed about being in the WWE. Now you're in the WWE. You get a 2 or 3 year run. At 28,
36. I just confirmed. I'm sorry.
She's 36. She
36.
doesn't look 36.
Yeah,
God
no,
bless
she
her.
doesn't.
God bless her.
Yeah.
But even 36, it doesn't matter, guys. Even 36. My point is, this is the dream. This is what you go in NXT. This is what you put in the years in NXT. Then you go to the main stage. They give you shit creative, so you have about 2 or 3 years. Then in 2 or 3 years, it's over. The dream is over.
Yep.
So now they're working indies. They're never going to get to the level of the WWE again. Bro, do you know what this does to them mentally? I've seen this happen a million times before. When you reach your peak at a young age, Mac, and then you're never getting back there, bro, that's where the depression sets in.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the alcohol comes in. That's where the pill comes in. That's the part that really concerns me, because I know, bro, Dakota Kai can make a career for herself after the WWE. There's no doubt about it, bro. She could book herself every weekend on Indies. She could probably go work at AEW. But to them, they were in the show. Yeah. And now they know they ain't getting back to the show. That's very, very difficult for a talent, Mac.
Oh, I will say this. Nowadays, it seems like even if you're one of those talents, let's say you're just a mid-card talent in WWE, you can leave and get on the independents and work those independents and make a damn good living nowadays. Right. So it's not the end of their career, but as far as being on the show, right. Yeah, that can really screw with somebody's head. I can just imagine you go from being a star to being basically, a small fish in a huge pond.
Right.
Let's see what we get. Hamp Connell, why do you have to waste my time with 15-minute matches to end in DQ? Yeah. These types of angles should be 3 minutes tops. They waste so much time. Also, Vince, you were right. Dakota Kai is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, we, man, the Attitude Era was a lot of DQs and countouts and this and that because it kept stories going. But exactly what he said, Mac, they were 5-minute matches. You're not going to go 15, 20 minutes. That is a total waste of time. Like I said, we did that all the time. Those matches were 3 to 5 minutes.
Anonymous, reruns of the Attitude Era would outdraw this. Look, you're not going to get any complaints or disagreements from me whatsoever.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. Mac, I had a great idea, bro.
Yeah.
You know what they should do? Somebody, and this was not my idea. Somebody said this online the other day.
You just said it. You had an idea.
I don't. No. See, I don't take credit for other people. Somebody said this online, bro. Yeah. You know what would be awesome?
What's that?
And I would love to write this. I would love to write it, bro. Bring me back to write this. An animated version of the Attitude Era.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Bring it back, man, with the same characters. Bring it back as anime. I bet you an animated version of the Attitude Era would outdraw Raw and SmackDown. I guarantee you.
I would not doubt it for a minute. I mean, and honestly, the question itself from Anonymous when he talks about the reruns of the Attitude Era, I prefer to go back. If I'm watching YouTube, and a lot of people watch our product now through YouTube, they're not watching the entire program. They're watching clips and pieces of things they want to see. So getting somebody to watch the entire show is kind of difficult. But the Attitude Era and the old WCW days are where I go to watch video. That's my preference because it's more entertaining than what we are currently getting now. And I'm not a negative Nancy about the WWE. I like the WWE. I like every group that's out there that's running right now. But our job on this show is to point out areas where, look, this isn't working and things were so much better. And we're trying to point these things out. And it just gets to the point where, Vince, I can understand when you say, I'm not going to watch, wrestling anymore or WWE or AEW anymore, or whatever, the words are. I can understand that because how much of this shit can a person watch?
Especially when you get older. I mean, that's the thing, bro. Like, as I get older, I don't want to waste any of my time, Mac. I really, really don't. And that's how I view this. And it's, like Sportskeeda pays us well, but it just gets to the point where time is just more valuable than money, man. That's really the point that I'm at,
Let me ask you just while I'm talking about that, because as I was saying that, it struck me that I did see a little bit of a thing online where people were going back and forth with you about what did you actually say when it came to watching wrestling. Now, here, I'm going to tell you how I took it. What I heard you say before and what I thought I understood was you were no longer going to be watching these 3-hour marathon shows anymore. That was basically it. You didn't say you weren't going to keep up with wrestling or anything else. You were not going to sit down and watch this crap.
I'll tell you what happened. I've said to people when I turned 64, I said a year out, guys, enjoy the Raw SmackDown reviews because this time next year I'm done. I'm going to do it for the whole year. I'm committed to the whole year. So I gave everybody a heads up. Now, Mac, when I turned 60, I said I'm never going to watch AEW again. I have not. I have not watched one AEW show in 4.5 years. Not one. Okay.
You ain't so much.
Somebody put up a tweet of about it was 5 years ago, Mac. And it must have been coming off a really bad Raw. And I was ranting and raving about how I was never going to watch enough. Like, bro, the Colorado Rockies have won 5 games. The freaking Giants lost to them yesterday. So I cut my promo on, I'm never watching another Giant game. We've all done it 8 billion times, bro. Yep. So one time, it must have been a horrific Raw. I was like, I am never watching another. 5 years ago. So somebody pulled up that tweet, and they're calling me a liar now. I'm a liar because in a bit of frustration, I said I was never going to watch it. Bro, these people are like, forget about it, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're wackos, man. They're whacked.
The great one, $4.99. I appreciate that too. Listening to you guys and the other sports Kita peeps is more entertaining to me than the WWE itself right now. You say what I've been feeling for months. And I do think that too, Vince. I think we get a lot of hell sometimes, but sometimes I even say things because I feel like I'm speaking for the fans. That's my job in a way, isn't it? I mean, we want better product.
Mac, I'm not, Mac, I do a show with Coach.
Yeah.
And like, Coach is always like apologizing because, and he's always, I'm not burying the WWE. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I am burying the WWE. Guys, listen to me. Please, Mac, we had the champion of a year get screwed out of the title by a rapper. Okay, tomorrow is going to be 2 weeks. We've not heard from him. And I'm going to sit here and put the WWE over for that. Cody Rhodes gets screwed by a rapper and not a peep from Cody Rhodes. And I'm supposed to put that over? Oh, again, Mac, I'm always saying, could you imagine if Austin was ripped out of the title? Could you imagine him that following night? Now we're 2 weeks.
Yep.
Not a peep from Cody Rhodes. And I'm not supposed to sit here and bury WWE creative?
That's what we get paid for. We get paid to make our critiques of the show, and our critiques mean critiques. We're criticizing certain parts of the program. I'm not that apologetic. You know me, Vince. At my age, nobody's going to hire me. I'm not getting a job at WWE.
You and Dutch got the Legends deal. You and Dutch, I got to keep an eye on you guys. You got the Legends deal, Mac. Come on.
Yeah, I got a Legends deal. Legend in my mind. Let's see, my own mind here. Let's see what we got. Angel. In the crowd, you see RKO shirts, Yeet shirts, Cody shirts, Cena shirts, OTC shirts, Punk shirts. The problem is 3 of those guys are 45 plus and not new stars.
They know. People watching this show know they can't create stars, guys. They've got a roster full of wrestlers. Yes. Mac, I swear, I saw an interview with Tiffy. And I don't even think it was a WWE interview. I think it was someplace else. And they were asking her about WrestleMania. And she said her most favorite thing about WrestleMania was her entrance. And she said when she was at NXT, she always wanted to do something Barbie-esque.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, that's what her character is supposed to be? Like, is Barbie like...
I didn't know that either until I saw that, Vince.
So now I'm like, Okay, bro, if Barbie is her character, then why isn't she riding to the ring in a pink Cadillac? Where is Ken? Where is her little dog? Where is the pink house that she lives in?
What you just did, Vince, is what creative is not doing. Because we even said that about Chelsea Green when she was the U.S. champion, the female U.S. champion. Here's the problem. You could have done so much with that. You could have taken her to Washington, D.C., filmed all kinds of pieces. Yep. You could have done so much with that. And just like you say, they miss out on the opportunities that are right there in front of them. Here you are just spitting off the top of your head some ideas that would have made what happens on the show 10 times better. And people can say what they want about Vince Russo. I get shit all the time. Oh, you work with Vince Russo, you know. And my thing is always the same. Vince has never really said anything I disagree with. Now, I think we had something last week, maybe. That was nothing, but, I mean, you know.
Mac. Taker and Paul Bearer chloroformed Austin, threw him in the back of a hearse. Mac, we literally went to a morgue. We were literally in a morgue, and we had Austin on the table, and they were ready to embalm him. We went to a morgue. Yep. I can't tell you how many times we did. I was watching a freaking Raw. I was watching a Raw last week, bro. The end of the show, they fight outside. There's a freaking manhole. They take the cover off the manhole. They shove Paul Bearer's fat ass in the manhole and put the cover on. I'm like, well, I don't, bro, either you're lazy as shit or you are creatively bankrupt. It's one of those two things or a combination of both.
I tell you a dream job, if I had to pick a dream job right now, and it would be this. I would love to do the vignettes for one of these companies. Get me in the back. Let me and Vince run back there with the camera and these guys, and let us produce content that I know will kill the audience.
Matt, can I tell you a great story?
Sure.
It's better than any of the shit on this show. Mac, these are the lengths we went to. Okay? Mac, when I was the editor of the I'm the editor of the magazine now. I'm not even doing TV. I had a freelance writer from LA. This guy was connected out the ass. Okay? So the Academy Awards were coming up. He got us at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion the day before the Academy Awards. It's me, Dustin as Goldust, and Terry Runnels as Marlena. We're in a limo. Everybody is setting up for the Academy Awards tomorrow. I just want people to understand the lengths that we went through.
Yep.
So, Mac, we're in the limo. Goldust and Marlena are in full form, right? Bro, every time we saw an opening, we opened we ran out of the limo door. We had the cameraman. Bro, I was moving pieces of red carpets around, this, that, and the other thing. We shoot, back in the limo. And then we're waiting for the next opportunity, okay? I swear to God, Mac, this is a true story. So, Mac, we're getting all these shots down and dirty. We have no business being there, okay? This guy was able to kind of get us in with his press pass.
Yep.
So, Mac, I go to set up this next shot. Mac, they had these, what are the Corvettes made out of? Fiberglass.
Yep.
Huge, bro. Oscar, golden fiberglass statues. Huge. 20 feet high.
Damn.
Mac, I pick one up and I move it.
Oh, shit.
Mac, a wind comes.
Oh, no.
Knocks the thing over. Keep in mind, Mac, the Academy Awards is the next day.
Oh, God.
Mac, this thing falls and shatters. People come running from everywhere because there were, these are the set directors. And,
oh, yeah.
Bro, you would have thought the president of the United States was shot. So they come from everywhere, bro, and I'm with Goldust. Get in the effing car. Bro, I get them in the effing car. I get one foot in the car. Bro, I swear to God, 4 guys in black suits, black sunglasses, earpieces, grab me by the arm. You're coming with us. So, Mac, as I'm walking with them, I'm like, okay, bro, you're going to be arrested. You're going to be taking one for the team. I want everybody to understand the lengths we went through, bro, and they can't leave a building. So, Mac, I swear to God, they grab me by the arm, and they bring me to some underground bunker.
Uh-oh.
Because listen, man, I'll be arrested, but what were you gonna midnight run me now, bro? Like,
it could have been the secret Hervis.
So, Mac, they get me down there. The head guy comes up. I know what you did. We saw what you did. So, Mac, what I'm thinking of is, bro, okay, jail is one thing. What the frig is that statue going to cost Vince and the WWE? Like, if I go back with like a $20,000 bill.
Oh, yeah.
So the guy says, I saw you. I know what you did. I saw you move a piece of that red carpet. I was like, oh, thank God, bro. I was like, he had no idea we were responsible for the big gimmick breaking, bro.
Did they ever put it together?
No.
Please tell me that you had film running when you broke it.
Oh, absolutely, bro. Everything was filmed. But Mac, my point is, those are the lengths we went to, bro. Though to make them stars. The whole idea was Goldust was at the red carpet of the Academy Awards. That was the illusion. These freaking guys can't take a camera out the backside of a building, man.
No, everything is in the back. It's either in the ring or it's in the back. You get nothing outside the arena. And I missed that. Like the days when Stone Cold went on the bridge and chunked the championship into the, right off the bridge. Bro. There are moments like that.
I was there, bro. It was after a show. It was 5 degrees out. We were freezing our balls off. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, Mac.
Yep, and you just don't see that anymore. You don't see somebody go through that, and I don't know why. I don't know if there's just not somebody who cares, or if it's one of the things that they're like, no, we don't do anything like that anymore. Well, it's a mistake if you don't, because that makes it a more entertaining show, and it gives you a lot more visual than just the ring or the concrete background of the hallways of the, wherever you are at the time.
Right.
Let's see. Anonymous. WWE has too many shows and too many masters. TKO, Netflix, USA, CW, Saudi, Rock, Triple H, etc. Everyone wants different things, and it's splitting focus.
Anonymous is dead on tonight with all these comments. Mac, we've been saying these things for months. They're serving so many masters, and the product is going to pay. They've bastardized the product. They've watered down the product to take the almighty buck, but they don't care.
I would say Black Note 718. Vince, you have inspired me to be a writer. What advice can you share with me?
Write every single day, bro. Write every single day. If you're serious about being a writer, you've got to write every single day. You want to hear a great story, Mac? Do you know to this day, bro, there's 365 days in a year. Jerry Seinfeld in his house has a wall with a calendar of 365 days. Every day, Jerry Seinfeld writes a new joke on that wall. Jerry Seinfeld, who's worth how much, Mac, still does that to this day. So you gotta practice your craft every single day.
David Duffett, after TV, Orton pins Cena with 1 RKO, if not fake. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about, David, if I'm being honest. Vince, do you have any idea?
I think he's hitting that rum candy again, David.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Billy Rock, the releases never got their fame and championship gold. Vince Russo, I just don't understand. That is all. I understand that at all, and this is unfair.
Yeah, it's all Billy. It's political, man. It's just all political, Billy. They have their favorites. They have their favorites, and some people are on the outside looking in. Mac, I'm not going to say who it was, but I was having dialogue with somebody on the active roster this week, somebody who's on TV like every freaking week. And the level of frustration, bro, I feel so sorry for these people because this is what they wanted to do their entire lives. And then when they get there, they are so frustrated, they're freaking miserable. And that to me is so sad, bro.
And, you know, that goes with what I was about to bring up, because 60-Second Wrestling has, you know, said how Zelina is the U.S. champ. She's lost 66% of her matches, and he's got a, you know, a rolling laughing face. She went up against Piper Niven tonight. And I look at people like Piper Niven, and you see her in the ring with somebody. And again, Zelina, I have nothing against Zelina whatsoever. She's a sweetheart. But when you see her in the ring, I'm not sure I see a championship material talent in the ring. And you got somebody like Piper Niven who's having to work down to make her look good, and make Zelina look good. It's got to be frustrating when you're a talent like that. And that's just one of many talents I can imagine that feel like what you're saying a minute ago. She's got to be one of them, because she had a lot of potential, and now she's just kind of regulated to a, you know, a second.
Well, Mac, because why? The girl is tiny. Okay, so if you've got a tiny girl on the roster, then that character has to be Davy. It's Davy in a land of Goliaths. But here's the problem, Mac. They got like 5 tiny girls. So being a tiny girl isn't special. I mean, Francis LaRue is tiny. Liv Morgan is tiny. Alexa Bliss is tiny. So when you've got 5 tiny girls on the roster, tiny can't be the gimmick. If there was one girl her size, and this is Davy versus Goliath, now you got something. But when you have so many small girls on the show, they should be getting killed.
They should be. And that goes back to the believability of what you're watching on TV. The person needs to be able to fit the bill of who they're supposed to be. And if you're going to have Zelina in a match with somebody, you don't put her in there with somebody who's twice her size, who I don't care if they had no training whatsoever, they could squash her.
Right.
And that's the believability that they're missing, because I don't buy those matches. If you're going to put Zelina in a match, put her in a match with an Alexa Bliss. Put her in a match with, you know, one of the other tiny women. That makes it more believable that these two could be meeting.
And Mac, let me tell you right now, because you know everything with them is eat time, eat time, eat time, eat time. I guarantee you, think about how ass backwards this is. Here's what they're going to do next. Now she's going to wrestle Alba Fire, right? But Mac, wouldn't you do that the other way around? Yep. Wouldn't you have her wrestle Alba Fire first and then bring in the big hitter? Wouldn't you? I guarantee you they're going to start with what's her name? Who she wrestled tonight? Ivan Evan.
Yeah.
They're going to start with the bigger girl and then go with the smaller. I guarantee you they can't even get that part of it right.
Yeah, and that's so simple. So simple. Now, a lot of times the reason why you might make that decision is because you really don't know 2 weeks out what you want to do. So you're just throwing something together, and then you're having to play catch up once you realize, oh God, we just had her in there with somebody who should have killed her, and now we're going to put her in there with some, you know. You're right. Absolutely correct. Yep. Let's see. Michael popping in and saying a top writer was also fired from WWE. Yeah, one of the head creative content. I mean, the creative writers for the program was let go. But I mean, based on what I've seen recently, I'm not surprised to hear that.
Yeah,
Vince, are you?
Again, man, come on, Mac. Yeah. The responsibility's at the top. I don't. You could fire a billion people. The response, it all starts and begins. And man, I guarantee you, you know, Mac, I was there like 94, 95-ish, and it was business was bad. Business was bad. But I could tell you this: Vince McMahon was taking full responsibility. He wasn't firing people. He wasn't. It was on him. So, bro, you can fire a million people. Mac, it starts at the top.
David Duffett, I'm a diehard fan, 55 in July. Well, happy early birthday, David. And he's saying, now only watch the PLE. There you go, Vince. You don't have to watch the weekly shows, just the PLEs.
I won't be watching those either, Mac. I won't be watching those either.
I don't blame you. Match Mania 23. Vince, you were right about Dakota Kai. And by the way, if you want to come into the room and be a part of our chat, all you have to do is get a super chat. And once we get that, we'll throw you up on the screen and answer your questions or just whatever you have come up for us. What else we got here?
And it's so weird because when you think about it, like this is what I mean, guys, about it being all political. Who was Shayna Baszler's tag team partner? Zoe Stark.
Yeah.
Oh, why is she not getting released? Why are you releasing Shayna Baszler and not Zoe Stark? That's what I'm talking about, guys. It's all freaking political. All it takes is for one person not to like you. All it takes is for you to look at somebody the wrong way, say the wrong thing, and it's over.
And a good example of people who are still with the job right now, who have so far not been mentioned in the latest releases that have been happening today. They were on the show tonight, and I'm surprised that maybe one of the, or not both of these weren't gone. Me, Chin, and B-Fab.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Why are they on? Who are they in favor with that they still have jobs?
Yeah, because I have yet to see a match that I've liked. They're not that good. And poor Me Chin, I don't know much about her. I just know that every time I see her in the ring, I'm thinking she doesn't belong in the ring. She really doesn't. And that's just my opinion. There may be a lot of people who just love her to death. I will see Match Mania saying Tiffany is looking for a fight, like everyone.
Yeah, I wrote that down. What did she say? She had such a cornball thing. She gave us the old anytime, any place, any. I'm like, come on, like really, bro? That's the best we got.
And it goes back again when we talk about the women's division and how they're going through people. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tiffany gone in a year or two, or be no longer at the top of the card. Because first of all, she's not that great on the microphone. She's okay as a wrestler in the ring. I do enjoy her there, and she's willing to get a little stiff if she has to. But the cartwheels and the backflips and all the stuff that these women do, get away from that and get in. Because I have never seen, not in all my life, I'm 60 years old, I've seen a lot of fights. I can promise you, I've never seen anybody start a fight off by running up to somebody with a cartwheel. Yeah. It just doesn't happen.
Does not happen. I never saw it in a bar fight. I've never seen it. No.
All right, let's see. Well, we got a lot of them coming in. This is the worst piece of WWE programming of the year. Total waste of time. Everyone is losing interest. Triple H will be gone by the end of the year. I thought that last year, if you want to know the truth of the matter. So sometimes I wonder what's taking so long. And I'm not hoping he loses a job. I hope he gets it on track and everything's fine. But it is what it is so far. Region Heat. I just watched your past China interviews. Respect. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that sooner or later, Vince. You knew China, and you've had some conversations with her, towards the end of her life. Can you imagine her being or doing some of the things that these women do nowadays? Back then, China she didn't have to be made up. China didn't have to be, she didn't have to fake anything. She was believable. She was a big, strong woman. You could tell she had a sweet heart. But just, I guess, demons got her later on in life, and then not to mention that maybe she was bullied a little bit here and there.
Yeah, man, I was thinking about that today, like, because when I'm seeing none of these girls are over,
yep.
And then I'm like, what? Why was China over? Obviously, she looked the way she did. Obviously, okay, there's no question about that. But then, Mac, here's what immediately comes to mind. The very first time we saw her do something physical, she ragdolled Terry Runnels.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that like it was yesterday, where it was like literally like Terry Runnels was a ragdoll.
Yes.
Then I can remember when she went out in the date with Mark Henry. And where did we go, Mac? We went to a bar. We went to an actual bar. And some guy started effing around with her. She cleaned house in a bar. These are the things that get people over.
Yes.
These are the things you have to do. If Tiffy is Barbie, Mac, they should have a whole set built for her. There should be a pink house. There should be a pink Cadillac. There should be a little dog. This goes back to, I am still trying to figure out what the what was it again? The Empress of the Future. What was Asuka? What was Asuka, bro?
I think that may be what it was. Yeah, the Empress of the Future, something like that. Yeah.
What is that, Mac?
I don't know.
What is the Empress of the Future? What is that, bro?
No clue. No clue.
Empress of Tomorrow. Empress of Tomorrow. It was the Empress of Tomorrow.
Yep, Empress of Tomorrow. You're right. God, you're quick with that kind of stuff.
Not today, Mac. Not today. Tomorrow. She's
tomorrow.
Not today. Tomorrow. She's the Empress.
I get so tired of seeing the guys come out too going, you want to fight? Yeah, I want to fight.
Yeah.
Next week. Poor fans in the stands going, well, shit, what are we getting tonight?
I know. We were always very, very careful of that, Mac. Always very careful of that.
Anonymous, the last out of the arena thing, he's talking about like a vignette or something taken outside of the building. He says
that was the one
Cody and Rock.
But that was still in the parking lot. That wasn't even outside the building. It was right in the parking lot.
Hey, but at least they went out in the parking lot. I mean, because it was a good piece of business when they did do that. Let's see. We have Bob M. Vince, is the business in its worst era, or is the business going into slow obscurity? Kayfabe is dead. Ratings declined since 2001. Bad TV product. So is the business in its worst era, or is the business going into slow obscurity?
Bob, bro, you know how they're conducting business now? Mac, this is exactly what they're doing. They know their fan base, and they know this fan base is going to pay $40,000 for SummerSlam tickets. They know the fan base. What they're looking at, guys, is per head. Yep. How much are we getting out of every head? That is what they're looking at, guys. That is the business model. And we've seen with this fan base, Mac, they will put everything over. They are very, very forgiving. They will spend a shitload of money because here's why. They don't attend the show. They're not going to show. Mac, you and I, we go to a baseball game. We go to a football game. We're spectators. Yep. No. Their investment is they believe they're part of the show. And that's why they spend all this money. And that's why they are so protective of it, because they are convinced, and the WWE has helped convince them, oh, no, you're part of the show. We need you to sing here. You need to sing here. You need to come to the press conference when the show is over. You're part of the show. So they know their audience. They know how much they're getting per head. And as long as they can continue to bring in that revenue, it ain't going nowhere, Mac.
And as a businessman, I can fully understand making the dollar. You want to make the money. They got stockholders. You've got to answer to people. So you've got to make that money. But this past year's WrestleMania and the stories we're seeing now for SummerSlam and the ticket prices, Vince, sooner or later, it's becoming, you're stealing money because these people are going to pay it and they can't afford it. I'm sorry. I don't know anybody that can spend 40 grand to go watch WrestleMania or SummerSlam and have a good time and come back home without having to pay that bill off for years upon years.
Mac, I swear to God, it had to be, God, man, it's going back now. Shoot, man, probably going back 10 years, right? Bro, I'll never forget. I'm a big Rihanna mark. So Rihanna came here to the Pepsi Center, okay? Mac, the ticket to see Rihanna was $130. And when they told me it was $130, I asked if a personal back rub from Rihanna was included. Mac, $130, Mac.
Yep.
And how much are they getting to see Sami Zayn?
Yep.
I don't even want a Sami Zayn back rub.
Okay, that needs to be a thumbnail. Let's see what we got here. Wes is popping in. This reminds me of The Rock spending the entire episode of Raw at Rudy Poo Bridge, and he ends up throwing Austin off the bridge. What a great show.
Mac, you know what was the funniest thing about that shoot? I'll never forget that about this shoot. Mac, I swear to God, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. It was after the show. Mac, it was freezing outside. Oh, it was freezing outside. Stephanie was like, she was shadowing me and Ed. Okay, that's how she kind of learned the ropes a little bit.
Yep.
So Stephanie was on the shoot. And bro, every time there was a break, me and Ed would run into the car and cuddle for warmth. We were freezing our asses. And Mac, Stephanie never got in the car once, and we're like, oh shit, bro. We gotta go freeze our asses off because the boss's daughter isn't trying to keep warm. It was so cold, Mac. It was
she was a McMahon. She wasn't gonna get in the car.
Man. Absolutely was not.
Match Mania 23. I don't care about the releases, but not the best look for Triple H TKO to keep telling everyone how much money they are making constantly. Biggest gate, etc. Yeah, they do talk about that quite a bit. It seems like this the gauge isn't how many people were in the stands. The gauge is how much money, like you said, per head. What are we making per head off each one of these people? And as long as people will pay that kind of money, they're going to keep taking that kind of money.
And again, man, sports, entertainment, concerts, you never get a dollar amount. You always get how many people are in attendance. It's only in wrestling, man, where they give you that dollar amount.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Hughes, hi, Mike, hi, Mac and Vince. Vince, you called it. They let Dakota, I can't speak it. He's getting late. Dakota Kai go and Strowman go. Yeah, we were talking about that just a little bit earlier. Trying to get all of you in here before we have to go. Mike Vermalee, I hope I got that right. Delivered food to Zelina and Black. I marked the F out. I can imagine. Like I say, Zelina is a beautiful girl, and she's really sweet. Yeah. Let's see. Did Zelina ever work? Did you ever work with her anywhere?
TNA.
TNA. Okay.
Yeah, that's where she kind of started. Yeah.
All right, let's see. We got one more in here before we have to kind of get things ready to close out. David Duffett, Savage versus Jake with today's booking would fail. And let's see. Anything else you need? That's all our questions we got tonight, which is good because we're running out of time. Anything else about tonight's show, Vince? You want to talk about something that stood out to you?
Shit, no.
You
want to talk about? Yeah, wait, bro. We could talk about if you want. We could spend 15 minutes on the backstage segment with Del Fasamoto and Andrade. We could talk about that for 15 minutes, bro.
No, I'm not going to do that. But I will tell you about something that I'd like to, if you're in the Illinois area, St. Louis, Illinois. If you're in the St. Louis area, I will be there May 16th and 17th, a part of Fan Fest 3 that'll be taking place there. And it's also the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. So that's going to be a fun weekend. May 16th, May 17th, I'll be there. Teddy Long will be there. Bill Apter will be there. Rikishi. God, there's a whole bunch of people. It's like nearly 50 people, it sounds like right now, that will be at this event. Go to sicw.org and hope to see you there. Vince, what about you? What you got coming up?
Yeah, guys, listen, man, I offer you a free week of the brand to sample us. And if you like it, bro, it's 75 cents a week. That's the lowest tier. Just go to patreon.com/Russo TWC, and you could hear our shows all week long.
And by the way, also everybody that's joined up on Road Trip After Hours on YouTube or on Facebook, thank you, because every time I mention that on this show, I get a boatload of new subscribers. So please go by and subscribe if you haven't already. It's Road Trip After Hours, and that's on YouTube and Facebook. That's it, Vince. I look forward to doing this again next weekend. We'll have, we hope that we will have our own Dirty Dutch Mantel back next Friday night. Vince, have a great weekend, my friend.
You too, Mac.
See ya.